Let's give a big Leadership L.A. a round of applause to Kevin and the entire SCLN team. If Leadership L.A. fellows are the conduits of change in our city, then surely the staff at SCLN is the electricity. So all I gotta say is look at DWP, there's a new utility in town. That's for sure. Secondly, I'd like to acknowledge the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce for supporting SCLN. Isn't it great to live and work in a city where business has a social conscience? Yes. It is. And it's by no coincidence, it starts at the top, so thank you, Gary Tobin. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again, considering the caliber of people in our class, this is truly an honor. 9 months ago I met 37 Angelinos that were all unique in their own special way, but it did not take me long to figure out that we had something very unique in common. We are all really good listeners. Actually, we all follow directions, that's what I meant to say. Same idea. I think it was day 2 of our orientation when Jeremy asked us to sit in our seats, take a deep breath, focus on our feet, the back of our knees, our seat, then our head, in that specific order. For a moment I thought, what is this, some type of advanced version of Simon Says? Of course not. Leave it to Jeremy, he was showing us how to physiologically manage our emotions. It's pretty deep. I can't tell you how many times I've used this exercise at home. I'm just kidding, honey. Then in April, it was on to arts and culture. We discussed the importance of the creative economy to Los Angeles with Jack Kaiser and spoke with arts leaders about how the arts are intertwined in business and education and in building communities and bringing about social change. Our classmate Danielle Brazell, if you could please stand, with Arts for LA inspired all of us to be stronger advocates for a greater investment in the arts throughout LA County. So thank you, Danielle. As you can see, the speech is not about me, it's about you. So really, you should be nervous, not me. And we got to see a few examples of such investment when we visited the Music Center, the Japanese American National Museum, and the Inner City Arts, an artistic oasis for underserved children in the heart of Skid Row, which really struck a chord with our classmate, Mario Fedolin of City Year. Mario, if you could please stand. I remember Mario reporting back for his group, and you could just sense that this guy was all about the youth, community, and empowerment. He was passionate, and you would be friends. Speaking of passion, how about that conversation we observed between LAUSD school board member Yoli Flores and UTLA's Joel Jordan about teacher effectiveness? Wow. I don't think any of us expected that conversation to go the way it did, to be that kind of a showdown, except maybe one of our classmates. Just one. Ani Ocasian with LAUSD. Annie, if you could please stand. After all, for those of you who don't know, Annie jumped off her Mexican cruise to join us. Wow. I'm not joking. She joined us just off the Mexican cruise, brown tans and all. And I'm glad she did, because she was able to provide us with an insider's perspective on the immense challenges facing our nation's second largest school district. If that's not leadership, I don't know what is. So, gracias, Annie. That's an inside joke. Then in the afternoon, we ventured out to the land of acronyms. Glenn, you better be nervous right about now, because this is all about you. The land of acronyms. We spent time with students at ALC and the other SLCs at the MCLC. That's the Miguel Contreras Learning Complex in downtown LA. And after spending the morning discussing the alarming state of education, it was certainly refreshing to visit this innovative model of learning and see strong instructional leaders in action, spearheading change in a community, one generation at a time. In fact, one of our classmates, Glenn Barney, with ComDev USA. Glenn, if you can please stand. Glenn was so inspired by the work they are doing. He really deserves a round of applause, and you'll hear why. Glenn was so inspired by what they were doing at the Academic Leadership Community, Small Learning Community, SLC, at Miguel Contreras, that he started a career journey speaker series and recruited me and other Leadership L.A. fellows. Please stand when I say your name. Tricia Landry with Wells Fargo, Jamie Keyser with Disney, Alonzo Hill with the FBI, to speak to students on a Friday morning. Wow. Yes. And he was there every Friday, and he continues to be there every Friday. That's what leadership is about, and it's also about recognizing an opportunity, supporting a classmate, and showing up on a Friday morning at 8 in the morning, or 7:30 in the morning to speak to students. So you all deserve a round of applause for that. And Glenn, I hope you're making your rounds tonight, because I see a lot of prospects in the room for future speakers. I'm not joking. Session 4 in June covered healthcare in Los Angeles with a focus on showing us leaders, Session 4 in June covered healthcare in Los Angeles with a focus on what non-healthcare leaders like me need to know about public, private, and nonprofit clinic healthcare delivery systems. We heard from a panel of industry leaders about national healthcare reform and how it's impacting local practices and local policies. We visited County USC, University Hospital, and Clínica Romero, a private nonprofit community clinic in East Los Angeles. And then in July came one of my favorite sessions, media, entertainment, and technology. If it sounds kind of sexy, it was. Our classmate Andrew Lackman with the California State Senate. Andrew, are you here tonight? Okay, he's in spirit. He's probably at some event representing the senator. But Andrew welcomed us to the site of his former employer, Paramount Studios. And we spent the morning talking and tweeting about how technology has affected film, news, music, and video games. And all I gotta say is enjoy your free online content while you can. Then after taking a behind-the-scenes tour at the studio lot, we delved into a lively afternoon conversation on the changing demands of leadership in the entertainment industry with Nelson Gayton of the UCLA Anderson School of Management. And we were inspired by Meredith Blake, the founder and CEO of Cause and Effect, and how she has used entertainment to be a catalyst for social change. It was truly a fascinating day. And if you'd like to see some of the highlights or see some of the photos, check out Mandy Deneau's Facebook page with the LA Chamber. Mandy. In August, we had probably one of the most unique sessions in the program. Our Law and Society session began with the Long Beach Police Chief and Leadership L.A. alum, Jim McDonald, who spoke with us about law enforcement today. Then we listened to a broad-based panel of experts talk about issues like recidivism, drug legalization, mental health, and homelessness. After lunch and a very candid conversation with our Sheriff Lee Baca about public safety challenges facing LA, we headed over to Men's Central Jail for a first-hand look at the largest jail in the world. Sure, it was overcrowded and unsanitary for most of us, but we did see some glimmers of hope as we walked into a classroom full of inmates, as they were working together, supporting each other, trying to complete a lesson aimed at helping them cope with the circumstances of their decisions. As I walked through the halls and made eye contact with some of the inmates, and at times even spoke with them, I could not help but feel somewhat responsible as a society for letting them down somehow. This was an eye-opening experience for all of us, except for one of our classmates, Lieutenant Joe Della. Is Joe here? Joe. Joe's a 20-year veteran of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department who has dedicated his career to public safety, and who I expect to continue to rise up the ranks. We ended the day with a memorable talk with Father Greg Boyle of Homeboy Industries about gang intervention and how to build sustainable communities. It can be summed up in one word. Starts with a J, jobs. And there's no one better at creating jobs than Father Greg Boyle. We ended the day in September. We headed south on the 710 freeway. The only time we did this, by the way, throughout the whole program, towards the other city for what I'm sure was the favorite session of my classmate, Jerry Caligiuri, with the city of Long Beach, simply because of the short drive. And Jerry, I know Jerry's here. Yeah. Jerry. Session 7 exposed us to the critical infrastructure of the Port of Los Angeles and the LAX International Airport. We heard from the port and airport police, chiefs, about what they do day in, day out, about how they work together and collaborate and try to align their technologies and procedures, all in an effort to protect us and our nation's goods movement. So next time you're at LAX and you're feeling a bit frustrated with the security procedures, I hope you remember that session, as did our classmate, Tom Fessenden, with ADP on his recent trip, business trip to Florida. Tom's here, right? Tom? In October, the Southern California Leadership Network team challenged us to look at neighborhood development through a case study of Pacoima, a San Fernando Valley community that has undergone major revitalization and that most of us have never been to. Well, except for one of our classmates, who I'm not sure is here tonight. Patty Salazar, is Patty here? Well, she did a great job representing her hometown and welcoming us all to Pacoima. We started off the morning talking economics with the president of the Valley Economic Development Center, then took a bus tour through the community and visited sites like the Pacoima Wash with Pacoima Beautiful Executive Director and Alley USD School Board member Nuri Martinez, who's a real community leader who's equally passionate about environmental justice, land use advocacy, as she is about public education. In the afternoon, we headed to MEND, the largest poverty relief organization in the San Fernando Valley, and we were schooled on Valley politics by VICA President Stuart Waldman. After going out in small groups to delve deeper into community park projects aimed at improving the quality of life in Pacoima, I was introduced to Mi Pueblito Mexican restaurant, which may very well serve the best corn tortilla quesadillas in the city of Los Angeles. And finally, just last week, we had our very last session on water and environment at the Southern California Edison facility in Irwindale. The morning panel, which consisted of the CEO of Heal the Bay, a former general manager of the Metropolitan Water District, an urban redeveloper, if that's even a term, I think it is, and a member of the LA City Council. The conversation was largely about water, Grant Burton's favorite subject. One of our classmates, Grant. We also spoke about other issues like plastic bags, an issue that I know too much about. But thank you, LA County Board of Supervisors. We spent the second half of the day revisiting our personal mission statement and leadership portfolio, a time and effort intensive process that we started at the beginning of the program that we probably would not have been able to get through if it wasn't for Jeremy, Jody, and Margie, who deserve a round of applause. For me, next to meeting some incredible people and making 37 new friends that are complete rock stars by any account, it was the exercise of putting my goals, dreams, and aspirations in writing on paper that brought it all together. Leadership L.A. was sort of our Google Maps for the last 9 months. It gave us the big picture and allowed us to zoom in when we saw something that interested us. Now with our leadership portfolio and mission statement in hand, we all have our own personal roadmaps, that will not only guide us, but collectively will guide the city of Los Angeles for years to come. It's been an honor to speak on behalf of the Leadership L.A. class of 2010. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Nicely done. For those